Leo, welcome to Illuminated Tarot. My name is Jenna. Today I'm here to do your reading for the month of January. We're going to take a look at your overall general energy, what you may not see coming, and get some important advice from Spirit. Welcome in, you all. Happy holidays. Hope you're enjoying your week. Ooh, balanced energy. A lot of fulfillment coming through here on the surface level. Let's call Spirit in more fully here. Thank you, Spirit, for presiding over this reading for Leo today. I did your annual reading a few days ago and was floored by the energy. Just two different timelines popping out. One where you conquer your fears. And I think that the way you respond to life this first month is going to set the tone of which path you choose. The path of fear or the path of faith and trust. And it doesn't mean you might not dip between the two, but predominantly we get to choose, right? How we're going to experience life. All right. By the way we respond to life. Let's get the current energy. We're going to lay the spread down. Then we're going to talk about some really nice pre-shuffled messages that really do coincide with what I picked up on for your annual. Six of Cups, space energy. Feeling a little nostalgic. Could be taking stock. You're releasing some stuff that happened this past year. We have the Six of Cups crossed by the Eight of Cups. So in this picture, she's walking away from some emotions, allowing them to sink beneath the surface, burying them, not bypassing them. Acknowledge it. There's an acknowledgement of whatever you've had to release. And at this point in time, you could be feeling a little bittersweet. I'm getting some of the things that you had to go through this past year. But you're acknowledging that it was time to release it and head towards the light of the sun here. As you can see, there's a new horizon, and there's a lot of blue above her, indicating that there's this feeling of needing to communicate your truth a bit more in this new era, this new Leo era. And it could be regarding the ones you love, because Six of Cups, it can indicate family, bonds that have been in your life for a while. All right, let's go into overall general energy. Ooh, the Hermit. Ooh, yep. This month, you have the opportunity to feel more connected to your higher self. The spiritual being within you, your spiritual practices, going inward, having a little bit more time for yourself. I like that. She's allowing the light within her inner being to shine forward. So as you go about your day to day, there's an aspect of self that you're bringing out into the world that's deeply meaningful to you. This implies that you bring meaning to everything that you do. Depth, my friends, spiritual depth, which I picked up on, that soul surrender for the year. All right, opportunity, the moon. Ooh, okay. So you're saying that there's some uncertainties about the path ahead. But you've learned how to release what needs to be released and not hold on. Basically, keep a scorecard. Holding on to grievances can weigh us down. And so I think you've been learning how to just, as you go about life, how to see the spiritual lesson. And despite not knowing everything and some emotions that come up, you're showing me you know how to deal with them. All right. Ooh, yeah. Because you've got your challenge is that there's something that's... Five of Cups is a feeling of I need to release this. And it doesn't mean you're necessarily releasing a person, it's the feelings. All life is a reflection of our inner state. So we can talk about what other people are doing outside of you, but what remains the same is how do you respond to it? How does it make you feel inwardly? And there's some things that have gotten you emotional because we're surrounded by some cups here. And what's crossing you and your opportunity for the month and in your challenge. So there's some feelings that are being brought up to the surface around connections or a specific connection with that Six of Cups. It's like that nostalgia that we feel sometimes when we go back home and we realize that time of our life is gone. Or it's the nostalgia you have over someone that you've been with for a long time and you know that it can't stay the same. Something like that. Those are just examples. Immediate future, Eight of Pentacles. Putting your head down and working hard. This is the card of the grind. So there's something that your focus in the immediate future is on the structures that you've built in your life that you can maintain, that you're like, I got this. I got this. I know how to do this. This isn't going to really make me overly emotional. It's like you put a lot of yourself into your work, and it's almost like a distraction from some other things that might be going on emotionally. What you don't see coming, Queen of Swords, which we did have in your opening around you really learning more about boundaries this year. All right, Four of Cups. I like this. Here you are, Leo, Sun. I will say that if you've been in a bit of a funk, something's been a bit off, you're going to be feeling better as the month continues. This has to do with making intelligent, informed decisions. You know, the sword energy in the upper court cards is your intellect. And it's like you're saying, I know, Jenna, like, I don't have to focus on, the negative. I can focus on the positive. It's like I said, I'm even seeing it split right here, that you have a choice whether you want to emphasize what's lacking or what's not going well in your life, or what is going well in your life. It's all a matter of perspective. Wow, Spirit's really, it's like, which path are you going to choose from day to day, week to week? And yes, there are people that, see, if we want to say that everything's to blame outside of us, we can play that game. But that doesn't really get you very far because it makes you feel powerless. So I want to empower you to take a look at where your mind takes you in how you interpret your experiences with people. Because let's talk about this. The cards here, and I thought it was really interesting because there's immediately this year, Spirit's going to be pushing you. It's like, when you feel that external pressure, and I felt this like, it's kind of like that pressure you get during your Saturn return, in your late 20s where you're like, you have almost like this existential crisis about what am I supposed to be doing? What's my purpose? Who am I? So you might be getting like this external pressure. Spirit's going to be telling you it's time to take action. And you might feel kind of impulsive around this because look at this. She's rock climbing with a dress on, like a fancy dress. So Spirit's like, I don't care what you're doing or what you're wearing. It's time to stop procrastinating. Like, stop being fearful. It's time to have courage, right? Even if you're in this dress. This reminds me of Runaway Bride. I don't know why. It's like, I'm out of here. Audi 2000. But this is about planning out how you're going to take action at the beginning of this year, right? Releasing any resistance, because there seems to be some sort of emotional resistance going on. And that could come down to your fear of failure, your fear of success, right? Your fear of what others may think, right? There's all kinds of fears that can come up. But this is what you have to take a look in this card of action, is what needs to be sacrificed in order to get what we want, okay? The card of action. Coupled with that, which is beautiful, is the card of passion. As you can see, both of the females in here, they're almost dressed to the nines here. So there's something really royal about the energy that you're swimming in January. And it's like you've got this really romanticized, like, I'm going to take action, I'm going to do this thing. And there's an external energy coming towards you with this passion. This is the card of Beltane, which is love, fertility. It is... you're wild, right? So whenever we have the card of passion, it comes into our lives and you can see here, they're pointing out that the sun is coming over the horizon, and this is almost like there's a new dawn, and we have the sun here. So if you feel like you haven't been yourself lately, there's going to be a shift in the energy, because this is about developing deep passion and joy for life, and to take some sort of risk. For some, it could be a creative risk. It could be something you want to grow during this time that you want to put your effort into. A lot of you, this could be around an idea at work, a business. It could be a long-held desire. It could be a person. It could be a project, or it could be you. It's like you're coming out of this period where you're like, all right, I've got to take action. I want more passion in my life. I got to get over my fears. You're taking stock, right, in order to do this. It's like kind of like psyching yourself up. Let me put these over here. And this is the card number 2, in case you're wondering. And then 11. 38 goes down into 11. So a lot of you, this is like your partnership with you and yourself. It could be with another, or for those of you who are in a partnership and you want to come out of stagnation and you're taking actions to kind of support a deeper vibe of connectivity. But both these cards, between passion and gratitude, have a lot to do with taking stock of your life at this time and looking at the year ahead and planning things out. We have the card of gratitude here. This is the card of Lammas, which is the first harvest. And this is taking stock of what we have. So Spirit is saying, you know, your focal point is going to be very imperative for you, Leo, this year and your experience of this year. And if you make it your intent at the beginning of this year to be grateful, right? Focus on what you have, not on what is not going right for you, okay? So if we celebrate our wins and we emphasize those, it gives us the courage. There's something around you grabbing onto courage, right? Accepting change and knowing that any hard work you put into any new endeavor for the year is going to pay off. Okay. But I do feel like you want more passion in your life. You're definitely feeling this rise of emotion. And almost, I feel as though you might be placing your emotional... I'm getting your emotional courage to live life on your terms is going to come down to you empowering yourself and doing what makes you happy this year. What am I getting? I'm getting such an annual vibe here in January because you do have like this really big choice point in your experience of this year. Like I said, there's two timelines. The timeline of I'm going to focus on what's wrong, or the timeline of I'm going to focus on what's right. And you get to discern that in any given moment. And that's your work this year. Your spiritual work. It's starting in January. The Hermit. Really going beneath the surface and understanding why you feel the way you feel when things come up and addressing them. I'm hitting those cards. All right. Let's clarify now the Hermit, which is your overall general energy. Some of you, you could just feel like, you know what? Despite the people around me, I feel like I'm on my own because the Hermit is our solitude. And it's like, if you can't get comfortable in your own skin on your own, how can you be comfortable with anyone else? So you could be learning that. Like, even if you're in a partnership, this is about getting comfortable with yourself. Some of you already got that down pat, right? There's no question. But then it's a matter of overcoming that and actually not hermiting so much and getting out there a little bit, taking action, you know, stirring the pot a little bit. Let's see. Hermit energy. Ooh, now we have the King of Swords, Six of Swords, Page of Wands. Yeah, you're showing me that you could have a connection here that you're dealing with that has been spiking a lot of different emotions over time, where it's like you're telling yourself in your reasoning, right, in your logical mind, like, I need to let go of some things. And it's around passion. There's something that you want to experience, this passion, and you're headed straight for it. A lot of you are overly logical about that. Like, you overthink what you should naturally feel and express, you know, because wands are spirited. They're like how we express, right? We have our thoughts, we have our emotions, and then the fire is how it comes out of us and it's shared with the world. So you're showing me like you're trying to move away from looking at your life from an overly logical perspective because it dampens the fire. It dampens the action. You're going to overcome this. It's like you're releasing all of the mental energy that when you're like really up in your head on your own, like it isolates you. This is someone who's like constantly ruminating, right? And you may be thinking about things that are out of your control. And you've got a duty this year to try to balance that a little bit and I get it. It's almost like you're showing me that you have like an overact, which is not typical for Leo, where you get self-absorbed in your thoughts. And that's very much of an air quality. So be more like fire. Be more like Leo. Something's got you up in your head that you're trying to let go of. It's like a dog with a bone. You can't let it go. It's like been something that's been nagging at you. And it could have to do with a connection. But it's not that you're unawares, right? I know I said that wrong. You are aware. Maybe hyper aware. So that's why Spirit's like, let's settle down in the mind about this because you can look at it upside down, sideways, every which way, but it's going to get you tied up into a mental knot. And they just want you to feel it and move through it instead of getting stuck in the head about it. So that's going to be your work this month. Let's go into your opportunity with the moon. There's something. Oh, okay. We have the death coming out over the moon. This is in your opportunity for the month. Okay. Interesting. You've got these pages, so it's like you're practicing. All right, this moon energy, which is your deep emotional state that you've been releasing, you know, some heaviness here. You've been going through a really powerful transformation. Like I said, I picked up on this in your annual, where you're like, okay, it's like when we build up a lot in a connection or connections, and those old emotions are interfering with the present moment, with present day. So you've been slowly unpacking things and learning. Page of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. You have been learning slowly over time how to transform how your emotions inform your mind, and how to not let your mind run away with different, you know, it's almost like if you have worst case scenario kind of thinking. And we do this to protect ourselves, but it can really like waste energy. So I think you're realizing, like, I don't want to treat 2025 in the same way I treated 2024. And it requires a lot of, what's the word? Awareness. Slowly but surely, this transformation's been slow and almost very difficult for you. Deep inner work is, you're looking at moon as shadow as well. So you've been doing a lot of healing of some childhood things, maybe even bonds with certain family members. If you feel like, you know, you weren't supported in your youth, it's like you're reckoning with some things. It may not be like a partner kind of connection. It could be for some of you, but it could be coupled with things that are coming up from childhood that you were slowly unpacking. Like this feels like maybe some of you have been going through a deep therapeutic process in 2024, and you're kind of reaching this point of like making a huge shift in your growth and your awareness, because you're showing up in this hermit energy. This is deep emotional work where, you know, you're fundamentally changing who you are. And healing aspects of self so you can change how you respond to people and to life. All right, 5 of Cups. I like this. It's like you're saying I'm being very patient with the process, and I'm trying to trust the process despite what it's bringing up in me, and I'm learning from it. I love that. It's a great combination, Leo. All right, let's go into this 5 of Cups. There's some sort of, the challenge is there's been some sort of loss. 5 of Cups is loss. What is this loss? Ooh, we have the Chariot coming out. Yeah, sometimes it's our fears. Yeah. Oh boy. You're afraid of losing something that, like, it's almost when we hold on too tightly to something. There's a fear of losing. Let it speak to whatever it is you're afraid of losing, okay? But if you're responding to life through the fear of losing something, then are you even appreciating what you have? It's like if you're hypervigilant looking for clues, right, that you're going to lose something, it could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Leo, because in the challenge with the 5 of Cups, this loss, you have all of this joy over it, and you moving straight for, you go from the Chariot to the 9 of Cups to the 10 of Cups, but it's like almost either over time, you haven't felt this, right? Like this is beautiful energy. It's like, I want to feel strong and confident and empowered, and I want to feel fulfilled and satisfied, and I want to feel harmonious and balanced. And yet why? It's like you're frustrated with something or someone, and you're like, why is it like this? Why do I feel this way? And that's why the moon is here. It's because you're going through this powerful transformation. It's almost like an ego death. Or it could be somebody around you having to go through an ego death, and you trying to be as patient as hell with this. This is also when we talk about how it applies to you. This is you. Again, do you want to focus on the negative of what's lost or the positive? And you're like, but you don't understand my circumstances, Jenna. Like, I have a lot to be down about, and I get that. it's real, right? These emotional states, these mental patterns are real. But when we start getting separation between being the person experiencing life and the person observing life, you start to feel like, wait a minute, am I depressed or am I watching the person who's depressed? Am I experiencing depression or am I depression? You see the difference? And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of like identifying, disorders and all of that. I'm just saying like there is a great chasm in our spiritual knowing between what we're experiencing and who we are. And when you get overly identified with what you're experiencing, your higher self just leaves the room. And you're saying, wait a minute, I've been slowly going through this, breaking it down. And it's hard work because I was not conditioned to view my life this way. And I see you really working hard. Like you're so earnest about this. You're like, I want to feel all of this, right? But why don't I? So I get it. It's almost like some of you could be going through some emotional states that don't feel good, right? In January. And you're going to have that moment, which is going to be your practice to go, wait a minute. I need to observe this. This is me going to a downward state. Okay. I'm not that person. I am not that. I'm the awareness watching that. We're going pretty deep here, but you are in this deep place in your emotions because the challenge is for you to move forward and trust what you're feeling and to find fulfillment and joy and harmony. But if you're stuck in fears, or you're stuck in, like I said, the fear of loss, or you're stuck in comparison, how on earth are you going to allow yourself to feel these frequencies? You're basically removing blocks that have kept you from really fully experiencing your life and the joy, because maybe when you were younger, it was hard for you to trust that. It's almost like, well, here today, gone tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to be able to trust that. So you're doing deep inner work in the beginning of January. That's why this Eight of Pentacles is here, where you're understanding your modus operandi, like how you've had this program of operating and how it's kind of interfered with your ability to feel joyful and what you need to do to make the shift, which can be slow, terribly slow, but you just keep going. You just keep swimming, right? You just keep going. Let's go into the Eight of Pentacles. Ooh, these all want to come out sideways. The Star, the Five of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Yeah, there's been some confusion, emotional confusion here, because there's been, you're showing me you're not really sure. You're trying to do the work to come out of a little bit of it feels like you've had some emotional confusion about your star energy. And what you're realizing is, until I heal and take a look at these deeper aspects of self, some of you could feel like you're repeating patterns in a connection, or even repeating patterns in multiple connections, where at the end of the day, it just feels either like you're losing something or you're not quite fulfilled or satisfied. And it's funny, I think I mentioned, I don't know who I mentioned this to, but I was watching, it was interesting. And I thought, whatever controversial stuff Aaron Rodgers has, I'm not here to speak on that. But he said, when you're a perfectionist, because I see you have these tendencies of wanting things to be perfect, but then you're putting your life up against an impossible measuring stick. And he said that there's always going to be, you reach a high, right, of achievement, and then you realize that the true fulfillment of life comes from within you and going deeper beneath the surface. And I'm not saying that you all are just starting that journey. You understand that journey, but at what point do you live that life that's so authentically you? You're not fronting, you're not being somebody you're not. You're like 100% transparent with yourself, and you are really showing the world who you are and others who you are. It's like there's this deep, deep work that you're doing that is healing you on a fundamental level, so you can come out of your emotions constantly confusing you. And this is not easy work to do, but it's going to completely be part of your ascension journey. This is the healing journey that when we decide to embark on this and we take action and we say, you know what, I want to live a passionate life. I want to feel grateful for what I have. What do I got to do? And I think a lot of you are breaking that down and looking at that. And this month, it's kind of like a crux. It's like a critical mass type of month where you're going to go from this frequency of fear and you're going to jump in and say, all right, I'm going to choose joy. All right, let's see. This is going to be a pretty transformative month, Leo. I can guarantee you that. There you go. I know what this is about. This is about control. I feel like you have someone in your environment where it's a lot of ups and downs. And the way the egos are showing up, where, in order to get on the same page, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is great, and the Emperor and the High Priestess, with the Four of Cups, the Queen of Swords, and the Sun. It's like your intuition knows, but then you start to take it all up into the ego, which is, God, this is so hard. It's really you having a bit of a fight inside of yourself. If you continue to give to the parts of yourself that want to control, your lower self is always going to tell you your worst fears. If you continue to give energy to that voice, it's going to keep you held down or held back from life. And I see you breaking free this month into such a pure state of joy because you're giving to the parts of yourself that equalize you. This is like an equalizing month where you're going to have this massive breakthrough in your emotional state. You've been climbing out of something. You've been climbing, and I think I picked up on this in your annual, where the winter season was like coming out of like a mini Dark Night of the Soul type of vibe. Let's get some. I don't want you to feel like this is a doom and gloom type of reading. It's not. This is actually you taking your power back in the way you give and really going deep into your moon energy and looking at the ways that it's like if you fantasize about perfection, right, in a connection or in life, and then you live a different timeline than that, then you're never going to be satisfied. This is about you letting go of perfection, letting go of the fear of loss, the fear of failure, the fear of success, and whatever's holding you back. You're taking stock this month, and you're going to take action. And I think what you're going to realize is that it's time to release the stagnation and overcome this programming. And it could be coming from someone outside of you. This might not even be you. It could be somebody you're dealing with. It very well. That's why this feels kind of like that you've got someone around you, and I felt this all year, where you have someone around you that their emotional state impacts your emotional state. And it's been your lesson to separate from that and be your own sovereign being. All right. Yes. Massive rebirth, death, which we had in your opportunity. Page of Swords sideways. You're learning from transformation and that you're going through a rebirth in January. This is big. This is a big one for you. Empress, about the ways you want to nurture a connection. I feel like this has to deal with you and somebody else, and the ways you get down about the giving and the receiving. There's a transformation going on in a connection here at the beginning of the year, Leo. We have the Six of Pentacles, the King of Cups, yeah, the Empress, the Page of Swords sideways. It's like Ace of Swords. There's some sort of truth that needs to be addressed for the emotions to flow again. You've got a new beginning. Some of you, this is calling in a new partner, like a really aligned partner. There's somebody that you might be turning your back to, a King of Cups, because we have the Emperor, Empress here. And there's some sort of truth about a water sign for some of you, where you're just like, if you've had a difficult time with a water sign in 2024, I see somebody else in the picture coming in 2025. That might shock some of you, because you have the Death here twice. And you coming out of some sort of illusion and fighting for your healing and fighting for your star energy and doing the work to overcome whatever stagnation you have in order to find joy again. So you could be turning your back to a King of Cups and welcoming an Emperor later this year. And your intuition's going to go, oh my God, is this what it's like to actually give and receive equally? That's going to be true for some of you. I really see that, because you're releasing something pretty big. A lot of you, if you find yourself, I'm talking to the people who are single, mostly here. If you're in a partnership, there's a lot you got to kind of release and surrender here, which is your fears of loss. And one of you or both of you trying to be in control and being equals here in this partnership. But a lot of you have been trying to rid yourself of something that you didn't want to see the truth of for a long time with a King of Cups, a water sign. All right, that came through at the end. I felt like I was grappling with, because you have a love offer coming in for a lot of you and a brand new beginning after a period of grief and sadness, of letting go of something that you thought wouldn't be your happiness, more releasing 8 of Cups, okay? You're going to hold on, right, to the signs from the universe here, 8 of Wands, after a long period of disappointment, 4 of Cups, so you can come back into balance, justice, and move forward with your life, Chariot. And hold healthy boundaries. I think a lot of what you've been learning and you're solidifying in January, boundaries. If something is really dragging your frequency down again and again and again, and yet you still keep giving to it, you need to listen to that. That's what I'm here to tell you. Shine a light. You're shining a light on, if I'm up in my head all the time and I'm not feeling quite right about this, and I've been putting the time, the energy, and the work into this, and I'm not with someone who's a team player here. It's like, whatever this is, if it's in love, in work, in family, you got to really determine how to equalize that, at least to the point where it's not interfering with your well-being. All right, let's get a Sacred Forest Oracle to round this out. This was an intense reading, okay? I want you to, if you haven't seen the annual, go to the annual. Purification, because you've been releasing. This is about purifying your body, mind, and spirit and clearing out. Purification number 30. Your energy field is being cleansed of all that it doesn't need. Traditionally, pine branches have been used in cleansing ceremonies because ancient people revered their purifying qualities. This card's appearance is a message to release what doesn't serve, support, or empower you. Let go of anything that feels dull and murky in your life. Cleanse your body and your environment by doing cleaning, space clearing, and clutter clearing. When your auric field is cluttered and energy is dingy, you can't see the world clearly and will still have trouble hearing the messages from spirit. The time has come to lighten up. Eat and live lightly. Before a shiny, vibrant new cycle can begin, it is essential to let go of the old. The brilliance that pours through you can then shine throughout your life and also help many people. But first, the path has to be made clear. The spirit of the pine says, let go of the old, discarded, and unused. Purify and cleanse and clutter clear your home, your body, and your life. Release whatever doesn't serve or support you. Take time for a total purification. You'll feel brighter and also be a clearer channel for the light. So you're purifying this month, okay? So you can release what needs to be released. Step into your power, right? So you can equally give and receive with the universe, and also come into balance between your ego and your higher self. Been a little bit of a battle there. And you're going to feel more like yourself, like I said, as the year continues. But this month is critical, right, for the journey ahead, for you to release what needs to be released, especially around a connection that's been in your life for quite some time, or something, childhood trauma, whatever it is, it's something that you are actively working on. You know about this. It's not like, oh, surprise. I think that you understand what I'm saying here. And I'm saying all of this with love. Okay, Leo? Namaste.